When it comes to taking away lessons and learnings from the midterm elections in 2022, I think it's really important to remember that it wasn't one midterm election, as the kind of narrative we like to tell, especially in the media, is, but it was actually thousands of elections, and that they tell different stories. And when we try to make one narrative, we can kind of submerge some of what's interesting. So I want to just give you the first most interesting example would be between Michigan and New York State, which are two places full of Reagan Democrats, Trump Democrats, swing voters, whatever you want to call them, kind of Johnny Lunch Bucket working class folks. We saw in New York an absolute red tsunami, not what we call a red trickle, which is sort of an average of the two. And then in Michigan, we saw a blue wave, which was a hugely unexpected but very, very prominent. To average these things together and say there was just a small red trickle, I think belies the underlying meaning of both and helps us take away kind of the wrong lessons. Right now in the Democratic Party, people are arguing, should there be messaging based on values like democracy and the human rights like the right to abortion, or more economic concerns like some of the progressive folks have been pushing? This is clearly a false choice, because the difference, the only difference in some ways between the campaigns in New York State and in Michigan were that in New York State, abortion is a right that is enshrined in the Constitution, and therefore it is a vote based on value and not based on material condition. While in Michigan, abortion is very, very hard to get due to extremely reactionary conservative laws put by the state legislature that was just flipped from Republican to Democrat. So what you see is that both campaigns on both sides in Michigan and in New York were pushing the same exact issue, which was a right to an abortion, and yet having vastly different results. So the takeaway from this election is that we can't look at these things as one elections. We have to really dive into the mechanics of all the elections and not kind of fall into the sportsification of our political reporting.